And they made him sick and he was going to die. But what did Hezekiah do? Hezekiah knew he was wrong. He wept. He humbled himself. He never passed the buck. God healed him, and God even added 15 years to his life. God's a very merciful God. Amen. God's easy to be persuaded. When you can admit you're wrong. It's easy, pretty easy to get God to move on your behalf when you're not passing the buck. Yeah, I've often wondered, why wouldn't he budge for Moses? Why wouldn't God cut him some slack? I mean, after all, think of all Moses did. Moses babysat all of those high-maintenance, old moss-back southern deacons for 40-some years, about 40 years. I mean, he put up with all those old codgers and draft dodgers and murmuring and a bunch of belly aching. He put up with that bunch of nonsense. Man, it seems like if God would have budged for anybody, he'd have budged for Moses. Amen? Seems like if God would have gave anybody a second chance, it would have been Moses. Right. I always felt like that was a little hard. And I'm not being critical of God. I'm a little peon. I'm a little pissant. Amen? I'm not critical of God. But, sometimes just in our flesh we try to, what was God's angle? What was God's motive? Why was God doing it? I want to try to figure out the mind of Christ. I want to try to figure out the mind of God, And then sometimes I've been like, man, that was cold, God. That was cold. All Moses went through, he led your people out. He put up with them bunch of complaining, belly aching. Man, I'd have left them high and dry. I'd have left them bunch of complainers high and dry. I'd have let the hyenas eat them. Amen. I always felt like, man, I just felt like Moses really should have had a second chance. But I bet he would have. I bet God would have if Moses hadn't been passing the buck. I bet God would have if Moses would have admitted that he was wrong. But he had a hard time doing that, so he got his request denied. We've seen a pattern of Moses basically saying, I'm not going in because of what y'all did instead of what I did. That's why I believe he got his request denied. Listen as I read Proverbs 28:13. He that covereth his sins shall not prosper, but whoso confesseth and forsaketh them shall have mercy. Look, I believe this is why Moses didn't prosper. His request, his petition didn't prosper. God didn't answer his request, I believe it's because he was covering it. He wasn't just confessing his sins. I don't see where he ever did. Maybe I'm missing it, but maybe you can show me. I don't see where he ever confessed it. And let me just say this. Don't think you'll get your prayers answered. Don't think you'll prosper if you're a buck passer. Look, if God ain't going to let Moses get by with it, he sure ain't going to let you and I get by with it.